Are these appointments necessary? Couldn't we wait until someone was actually sick and then determine the particular model of appointment that would apply? A further question, as things stand, how will these arrangements work? Supposing Morrison has validity in his argument that he was trying to create backup capacity, why wouldn't he explain that to the voter? Why wouldn't he say why he was taking those measures? Why wouldn't he first get the authority of his cabinet, as is the practice in the Westminster system? Why wouldn't he tell the ministers involved? It's clear he didn't consult cabinet and had no plan for when such powers would be exercised. The whole idea of responsible government is a system based on what's called collective responsibility. That is, deliberation by cabinet, approval by government, and then secure the appropriate executive authority from the Governor-General. In other words, as I said yesterday, the argument was that he needed these powers in relation to Keith Pitt, the resource minister, because Pitt wanted to approve a licence to search for oil and gas off the New South Wales coast. And Morrison needed the powers because he disagreed with Keith Pitt. Well, this shows a complete ignorance of the parliamentary process. Under the Westminster system, the Minister Pitt would make a recommendation to Cabinet and would try to persuade Cabinet to his position. Morrison's job, first among equals, would be to persuade the Cabinet to another position. Cabinet then takes responsibility for the outcome. But dangerously under Morrison, it was a Cabinet of one. He took on the powers so that he could personally refuse the licence. And now you, the taxpayer, are up for more money because that decision is now being contested in the federal court. As I asked yesterday, wood ducks sitting around the cabinet table, what were they doing while all this was going on? It is impossible to document the constitutional principles that Morrison has ignored. It is true that ultimately he didn't exercise most of the powers that he had granted himself, except in the dying days of his government when, in order to win votes, he thought he should override the National Party on gas without telling anyone. But what's really happened is that the public now are entitled to be suspicious of the decision-making processes in Canberra. And like it or not, Morrison has undermined public trust in our democracy. But Morrison is gone. The Governor-General remains. What questions did he ask the Prime Minister? What independent opinions did he seek? Where are they? Are they in writing? What concerns did he raise with the Prime Minister? And if he raised none, he must now consider whether he should remain in his post. I said yesterday that there has always been an arrogance about Morrison based on his insecurities. People out of their depth often behave arrogantly to disguise their lack of ability. Consider his answer when he was asked earlier this week his response to Albanese's concerns when they were first raised. He said he wasn't paying attention to day-to-day politics. This is a man who's a Member of Parliament on a salary of $217,000 who this admission is not paying attention to day-to-day politics, has shown no respect for our system of government. The question now has to be asked, should Scott Morrison and Governor-General David Hurley remain in their current roles? But then, if the Governor-General goes, does he finish up costing the taxpayer what a former Governor-General, Dr Hollingworth, is costing? $700,000 a year. A pension for life of $365,000, $315,000 to run his office. Is that what you get for not being able to do your job? Or would Morrison qualify as a former Prime Minister for the taxpayer-funded expenses that Malcolm Turnbull racked up in 12 months? $350,000, enough to buy an affordable home in some regional town. But that doesn't include the Turnbull pension. There are serious questions that this all raises about our system of government. But what is clear is that the taxpayer is being ripped off and lied to. The only further question that needs answering is, how often?